welcome to our latest success story episode here at Inspired Coach Podcast. And oh, my divine goddess ahead, do I have a beautiful, beautiful guest and success story for you today. We are joined by the luminous Jessica Patra. Putu Jessica Patra is a spiritual mentor, certified life and business coach, and founder of the Sacred Circle, a global community for energetic transformation. Rooted in the wisdom of her Balinese culture and lineage, Jessica blends storytelling, breathwork, energy healing, and soulful strategy to guide others into alignment with their highest self. Through retreats, group journeys, and one-on-one work, Jessica helps coaches, healers, and heart-centered leaders claim their power, expand their impact, and live with purpose. She's also the author of an upcoming self-help memoir, Bridging Ancestral Healing with Modern Wisdom. Jessica is such a light, and she shares with us in this episode ahead about a number of experiences that she's had when younger and with her family, and also in the early stages of starting her business that have been truly impactful in challenging and difficult ways, particularly in regards to her own visibility and truly owning her own gifts. And Jessica is also a shining example of a heart-centered, very spiritually forward-focused business owner that is now just flourishing and thriving in the most extraordinary ways. And she really is the most beautiful example of somebody that is bringing in all of those things with her work and experiencing increasing levels of success and impact. I mention this because there are many people out there that think to themselves that if you are someone that really wants to bring in those soulful spiritual elements to your work, that comes at the cost of success. It comes at the cost of expansion and impact and growth, even money. And Jessica is a beautiful example of how that is an assumption and a mindset we all must let go of, because she's proving it's so possible, and therefore it could be for you too. Jessica Patra, welcome to Inspired Poach. It is now. It's Inspired Coach Podcast. There you go. That just lets you know, everyone, how spontaneous and real this is. Jessica, welcome to Inspired Coach Podcast. I'm beyond excited to have this beautiful conversation with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Jessica, before we started, our interview today, we were having a chat, just a little chit chat before pressing record, as I often do with my guests. And one of the things that came up was about your name. And for anybody that knows me, you'll know I'm a big stickler and advocate for people's names being correct and people correcting me if I pronounce them incorrectly and all things like that. Your name is just so important. It carries a lot of soul energy. And I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit more about your name and the deeper and expanded meaning of what it is beyond Jessica Patra, because this is then going to lead us into this beautiful conversation about the deep sacredness and success of your work.
Yes, and thank you. It's such a great question. So my legal name is Jessica Putu Patra, and the reason why it is set up like that, and my middle name is Putu, and Putu means firstborn Balinese child. In Bali, traditionally, if your name is Putu, that would actually be your first name. So traditionally my name should be Putu Jessica Patra. However, given my background, my mum thought, how can children tease me with this name, and thought best to call me Jessica instead. So when I go to Bali, just as a bit of a funny story, I will show my passport to the Indonesian customs and they will have a giggle at how my name is incorrectly positioned.
Right, because
Yes.
Putu should come first.
That's correct.
Okay.
So on the side of that, I completely honour where my mum was at to protect me from bullies and children and all the things. But as I've grown into myself, grown into my spirituality and really started to embody my lineage, I have started to bring that forward, and you would see that in my business. So in my business name is Putu Jess Patra at the moment. However, it is transitioning to be fully, wholeheartedly me, and I'm moving to Putu Jessica Patra because I think it embodies who I am, who I'm meant to be, and who I'm becoming. And so the name Putu is a part of me. It doesn't matter where it is legally situated in my name, but it is a part of who I am.
Thank you so much for explaining that to us, because one of the questions that I asked you before we started today was, how would you like to be referred to? And I have known you for a very long time as Jess, and we eventually landed with the transition that you're making into Jessica. And obviously Putu is now really coming through as something that, through your own life and maturing and awakening to your truest self, to be something that is deeply important to you. And this is such a relevant, people might be thinking, why are we talking about her name? Like what was it? But it's actually deeply, deeply relevant to your coaching and entrepreneurial and business journey. So Jessica, you come from a lineage, don't you, of Balinese healers and guides and ancestral keepers of wisdom, of which you now hold and emanate in your work. Tell us a little bit about your family and culture and that lineage. I'd love to know more.
Yes, and I think, the beautiful thing about Bali is a lot of people know about Bali, they've been to Bali, but they may not have seen, that spiritual. They may have felt something when they went to Bali and not really understood it. And I feel it, I know it. And we grew up in ceremony, rites of passage, rich daily ritual, and this really deep connection and reverence to our ancestors. And for me, it was such a beautiful way to grow up, but I just thought that was normal for me. I didn't think that it was really sacred and special, and to have this deep connection to our ancestors as being, a beautiful thing. So now in my business, and now as I have gotten older, I love to share the Balinese wisdom that I know, and I say that, I say that because you go to different parts of Bali and they even pray differently to how my family do it. So just to acknowledge that different parts of Indonesia and parts of Bali will have different types of influence. And I'm just so grateful for my family, who back when I was younger, I had no idea that some of us were healers, future pamunkals, which are Balinese priests. And it wasn't until my dad started going through his journey. So he was essentially the bad boy of the family, the black sheep of his brothers and sisters, taking drugs, doing all of the things that a Balinese person didn't traditionally do back in the 80s and 90s. And he started seeing things. He started seeing spirits and things, and having dreams where there would be a soldier that was that would appear at the end of his bed that was dressed up in traditional attire, and my grandpa took him to a healer, a pamunkle, and asked about my dad. Why is he seeing this? Because they thought it was something bad. And the person that they spoke to told them that Dad was actually a chosen one, and that he was meant to walk this path and to get off the drugs and, you know, start to meditate daily and eventually connect to the spirit world. And he's been on that journey I've watched him from what he was to what he's become in the past 20 years, and it's just so beautiful. It could make me cry just thinking about it. It's
Yes.
so beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing, Jessica. Thank you for sharing that with us, and with you as a descendant of your father. We know that we carry, you know, pain, but also wisdom, fear and joy, and all sorts of things that, you know, we inherit, sometimes unconsciously, from those who came before us, and some things maybe we wish we didn't. And then many other times, lots and lots of gifts that we're so glad that we did. And so I'm just really enamored with that story about your dad, and I know that it will have impacted you obviously so deeply. But I wonder, when you were a little girl or growing up, whether you ever had designs for yourself that possibly one day that you would be a coach, a breathwork facilitator, a retreat holder, a leader now in the way that you are.
When I was younger, probably not as much. When it comes to like the spiritual path, I remember having tarot cards and stuff like that. And I remembered feeling a deeper connection to spirit. But it probably, you know, and this is actually quite funny, but my mum used to say to me, "You're exactly like your father." Because I went down the drug taking, the, you know, abusing my body when I was younger because of multiple reasons. We all have the reasons. My dad moved back to Bali when I was young. There was all these things that were happening for me. And I remember my mum saying, "You're exactly like your father." And the funny thing about that, because I can laugh about this now, and I hope I hope she can as well, is that I have actually become similar to my father, where I have started to connect to the spirit world and going to trance channeling and have a very deep connection to my ancestors who have come through my body. And it's so funny just to look at where my dad was and look at where I was as well, to not just have that connection to spirituality, but to be able to come out of, you know, drug taking and all of those things and become a leader and hold space for others the way that I do. I'm very lucky to have my feet planted in both worlds, in Bali and in Australia.
I'd say you've also worked hard for it.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I was going to
Yes,
say,
thank
I
you.
don't necessarily think that that's all luck. In fact, I know you in the way that I do that it's not. I know that there is determination and commitment and just soulful, active hope that you have manifested for yourself the life that you now have, which is glorious, and the business that you do as well. So I just wanted to slip that one in there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and I received that fully. So
Good.
thank you for that mirror.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that you do. Jessica, tell us about the moment, if there was a particular moment, or maybe the awakening, where you started to realise to yourself, I want to go into business for myself. Because this is not usually something that most people decide when they're a young thing, you know, when they're in high school or even in their late teens or early 20s. It happens to some people, but when did you decide to yourself, I want to become a coach, I want to work with people, I want to help people? When did that come about for you?
So with coaching, it probably came in my early 30s, where I felt comfortable and confident enough to step into that. And it's not to say that I wasn't already coaching, and I think that's something that people need to see, the transferable skills that we're all learning every day. It may be the way that you coach your brother or sister, or in a team you might be team coaching and not realize it without having that coach hat on. Is that I really probably stopped myself from stepping into my power because the little stories in my brain were telling me I was too young and I hadn't had enough life experience. And probably a lot of the reasons why a lot of people will stop themselves from stepping into their power and to their coaching. And so I do acknowledge that it was a bit later for me, and I should have done it earlier. You know, I was a manager in a restaurant and bar at 21. So why wouldn't I have believed in myself, you know, to become a coach until, you know, 10 years later. So yeah, I just, if anyone can hear this and if they're contemplating, questioning, you know, is this the right time? It is the right time, because we have all got such lived experience that needs to be shared, and we all can learn coaching skills, and there's just so much that we can give to others.
Absolutely. And I love what you mentioned there about transferable skills, Jessica. This is something that we speak about a lot at Beautiful You, and that is that no one comes to coaching from some sort of imaginary scratch. Like, there's no such thing. Like, everybody that has a passion for this, a burning for this, comes into and onto the path with skills, with lived experience, with wisdom that already exists within them. And then it's really a matter of how does one take that and move forward with it in a way that's trauma-informed, ethical, gets results, and a lot of other things besides. But yes, you're absolutely right about that. So thank you. And you know what? You recognized it in yourself when you did, and you trained when you did. And so better than not at all, right?
That's right. And I do remember when you birthed your business, and I remember thinking, I want to start now. And it actually took me about 4 years for me to join. Yeah. Because I had and it kept popping up, and I was like, no, I'm just going to move it to the side. That's not for me. That's not who I am, because as I said, all the reasons before, and I'm just so glad that whisper got louder and louder until I couldn't put it away.
Well, I'm glad you didn't put it away either, because Jessica, you're now running a truly successful, amazing, extraordinary business. You don't just coach people. You're a spiritual guide. You're healing lineage. You're a breathwork facilitator. Online courses, sacred circle facilitation. It's like, you know, I can barely get it all out. You're doing so many rich, wonderful things. But of course, it didn't start where it is now. Tell us a little bit about those first couple of years out when you were establishing your business. What are some of the big lessons that you think you learned during that time?
I think for me personally, the fear of being seen was this far greater thing that, you know, took over me stepping fully into my power. So, you know, as we all know these days, most businesses, to be seen, you do need to be online, on social media. There's an element of that. And I really struggled with being seen, because I had just, you know, years before had a stalker for 6 years of my life, on and off. Oh. And yeah, and so I was not only afraid to be seen by the world, but I was afraid to be seen by him, because then he would know who I am, what I'm doing, etc. So I think for me, it took that little bit longer to know that I am safe and I am protected and I am loved, and they were my affirmations that I used to know that I would be okay, and that he would be okay, and he would be doing his own thing. And I send him so much love, despite all the horrible things that happened. I just send him so much love because it's made me into the person that I am today. But I think that, for a lot of people, they're afraid to step out and show people who they truly are. And I can, hand on my heart, say, I'm only just stepping out as Putu Jessica Patra. This is the next evolution of who I am. And knowing, in your business, that just because you started with one particular offering or a certain type of clientele, your ideal client, that it doesn't actually need to stay that way, and that you have you can evolve, and it's important for you to evolve, just like you would expect that of your coaching clients, your healing clients. You want to see them evolve, so just don't stop yourself from evolving in business. I think that was the one thing I was like, I know who my ideal client is, I know what my offerings are, and thinking that I needed to stay in that moment for too long in that chapter. So yeah, I think there was a few things that stopped me to step in.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and what a terrible and also very long experience that you had there. Of course, that would have so deeply impacted how you felt about turning up online. But this is something, as you've already explained, that many people experience doubts and fears and concerns with visibility, even if they don't have a terrible proximity and experience of having a stalker. And so I love your wisdom that you shared there. I'm also a believer that, again, like with your name, Jessica, that, or even when it is that you decided to train to become a coach, that we do things in the timing that we're meant to do them. Because there's, right, and I look at that beautiful smile, right?
It's just divine timing, all of it, everything.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. And if you had probably, and obviously some of this was taken on board through your mum's fears for you. And I'm a step parent. I have fears about my stepdaughter all the time as well. Got to be careful not to project too much, but it happens. Is that if you'd have had attempted to step out into the world as Putu Jessica Patra 20 years ago, well, it's highly unlikely that you would have been able to have held that for yourself. Would that feel right to say? Yeah,
it does. It feels right. I can feel that in my body, yes.
Yeah, and so this also then means that you trained at the right time in your life to now be doing the work that you're doing. And that was when you slowly began to expand your capacity to be able to hold the work that you now do.
Yes, yeah, and that's, I think that divine timing is so true. It's on so many levels in my life. I think even just now in my life as well, everything is unfolding as it should and when it should. If I had if I think about my trance journey and this following in my footsteps of my dad, I couldn't have held that, 5-10 years ago, because I wasn't ready. I was not ready, and I am ready now, and it feels safe as well. So I think that there's just so many, don't be hard. If there's more wisdom to share, is that don't be hard on yourself if you think you want to do all these things, because there is time to become the coach and start the business and share your wisdom. There's no rush.
No, there's not. I've said more than once that really the the period of time when my own personal coaching business began to take off really didn't start to arc up until I was in my late 30s. And really my decade of 40s was when it was flying.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love that. You've got time, everyone. There is time in varying different ways. Jessica, this beautiful business that you're now running, tell us a little about the element of sacredness and spirituality that runs through everything that you do, because I don't think I would be wrong in potentially assuming that you consider those parts of your life to be a huge part of your business success.
Yeah, and I think it's what makes me different to others is that the wisdom that I bring in from my Balinese lineage and what I've learned, it really, it's so powerful inside of me, and so I know that the people that come to me are ready to receive me and to receive the wisdom and to learn about, things like daily ritual. It doesn't have to look like it does in Bali, but daily ritual is such an important thing for all of us every day. And if there's something that I can teach people about ancestral wisdom and connecting to not just their ancestors that they remember, but the ancestors that came before them, because they don't need to have a name or a face. It's a feeling, it's a connection, it's this guide that they are for all of us. And so there's so many things in, with regards to sacredness and spirituality that I know that I bring in from my lineage. And I think that it really helps to, set the tone of it being a little bit different than, being a coach, a life and a business coach, or holding space as a breathwork practitioner. There's another element that I bring in, and if you were to ever do a one-on-one with me, I like to obviously acknowledge acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we breathe, but then I also love to call in people's guides and their well ancestors and anyone who'd like to come forth to help hold space for that person and to protect them and to send any messages down that person might need to hear, and including acknowledging their own inner wisdom, because it doesn't always have to come from something external, it can be from within. So I do love to bring and to mix it all into my world and into my business, and I know that those that come to me, they're ready for that as well.
Absolutely. And I understand how they would be ready for that, Jessica, because everything about your branding, your visual presence, your online presence, it has such full ownership of the sacred elements and the spiritual elements that you bring into your work. Like, there's no hiding there. So please know that as an outsider looking in at your work, is that whatever fears or concerns you had about visibility, I don't think that, as we were talking about before, they are there now, because it's just so clear. If you don't want some kind of extraordinarily sacred experience with a coach, Jessica is not the person to go to. But if you want all of those divine, literally and energetically, things that she was just talking about, then this is the person to see.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Jessica, I would love to finish up by asking you today. I know that you're running this beautiful, successful coaching business right now. And I use that word coaching with a lot of sprinkle of all the other things that I've mentioned. Really, it's a guiding, healing, sacred business with so many different touch points. What does success look and feel like to you in that business?
That's such a good question. So success for me is about the transformation that I see within my clients. And it also means, just on a personal level, success means that I'm not busy as well. And I just want to add that in there, because I've had businesses in the past where I was a slave to myself and my own business, and I thought that to be successful, that equated to being busy and handing over my life, because I was so dedicated. So I think there's two things in that, and that's the transformation that I see within others. That feeling that I get when I see people have the revelation, listen to their own inner wisdom, shed that layer of healing, that lights me up. It fully lights me up and I'm just getting like really excited about it. Yeah. It lights me up, and it doesn't just light me up in my business, it lights me up in my life when I see it happen with my friends or my family or in a workplace. That transformation is powerful. So I would say transformation, and also this element of flow and effortlessness that we should all have and embody in our business, because success does not mean busy. And I got taught that the opposite, and that's why it's taken a while for me to feel that in my body, that I do not need to be busy to be successful.
I love that so much. I think that is a societal conditioning that many of us are unraveling from in varying different ways. That success, even though we don't consciously think about it or see it that way, actually involves a lot of things that contribute actually to burnout and feeling depleted and just feeling absolutely spent, because there's a connection there to hustle and busyness and bigness. Yes. As well. Like big things needing to be big to be successful. And oh gosh, that's a whole other podcast.
Oh, it is. There's a topic for you for next time.
Yeah, there's a topic for the coach's couch maybe to talk about that. Yeah. Okay. Be present, Julie. I've suddenly, because I think there could be there. But that's beautiful what you say, and thank you for the interweavedness and connectedness of what you mentioned there. Jessica, we're so proud of you as a graduate of the Beautiful You Coaching Academy. I am so grateful not just to you, but to your entire lineage of divine ancestors and everything that they have contributed to the woman and healer, coach, facilitator and guide that you now are, and for you accepting the candle, for taking that light forward in all that you do. And it's just so beautiful, and we're so happy for you with everything that you're experiencing, the success and wisdom and growth in your business in ways that, as you've explained to us, feel gentle and flowing and meaningful for you, which is just the only form of success that I really am interested in myself. And so thank you for being an inspiration to me too.
Oh, thank you so much for your beautiful words. Yeah, I can really feel them. So thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Everyone, if you want to connect with this divine human being and service holder, we will, of course, have all the details in our show notes here at Inspired Coach. Thank you for being with us.